Hello everybody and welcome to Slow Stitch Style. My name's Catherine. I'm a maker based in the Midlands of the UK and this is my little corner of the internet where I talk about all things making, and in this video we're talking about plans for 2026. Like a lot of other knitters and sewers, I'm thinking about all the things that I want to make in the year ahead, and I have some big overarching goals and then some very specific garments that I would like to make. So join along with me as I talk through all of those and show you what I am hoping to create this year. So we're going to start out with the big overarching goals, and you know, some people call these resolutions. I don't like that terminology. I think, yeah, to me there's just goals and ambitions, and I use my I have a little traveller notebook. I think it's a pocket size one in case anyone's interested, and you can get like little refills, and in here is where I've written my goals for the year. So I have all sorts of goals, from things that like me and Graeme want to do as a couple, to reading goals, making goals, and then overarching goals around things like reducing things in my life. So things like my screen time, making sure that I'm resting, getting out in nature, having time to play and process, and giving space to ideas, to nurture things, buying more mindfully, exploring more, slowing down and making sure that I keep learning. So they're like big overarching goals, and then I sort of drill down into specific things for each sort of area of my like life, as I mentioned. So I have some reading goals. I need to do something about these books that are accumulating behind me. And then I also have some making goals, and I have 5 of those. So we'll go through them now. And number 1 is reduce my stash. As I mentioned, reduce is like a big goal for the whole year, but this is like hard to get specific about it, which is what I need, because otherwise I find it all a little bit too wishy-washy. At the minute, my fabric stash is at 29.16 metres. And I'd like to get that down by the end of the year. Ideally, I'd like it less than 10 metres. That might be ambitious. We shall see. And then my yarn stash is at 7,956 metres, which is 2,508 grams. So it's basically the equivalent of, I think this is a 100 gram screen, 25 of these. And again, I would like to half that, so I'd like it to be under 1,000. So we'll see how that one goes as well. So yeah, reducing my stash is a big part of that goal this year as well. So my second goal is having a buy limit, and we'll go through the specifics of stuff that I want to make. I'm allowed to buy myself 12 things beyond my project plans, which may sound like a lot, but I want some level of freedom, but not like absolute free range, just buy whatever, whenever, because I just feel like I don't need loads more stash. When we go through the stuff that I actually have stash for, I can make a lot of stuff without buying more. So the rule is anything that I have plans for already and know that I need in my wardrobe, I won't have a limit on, and I will allow myself to buy those things, but anything beyond that, I will have to have a spend limit, and as mentioned, like 12 things. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've written my numbers wrong on here, but then I also have a page in my journal where it's the 12 things I can buy for, just so I can keep a record of those as well. Number 3, I think I mentioned this is my overarching goals, but like I really want to learn a new skill or develop my techniques. So last year I did like intarsia in the round for the first time. I knit socks on small circulars for the first time. I did colourwork socks in a way that I've never done before. And this year I still want to keep improving and developing. I've been watching Game of Wool and I have a lot of feelings and opinions, but I won't add to that on YouTube. But one thing I will say is then exploring the range of knitting techniques has made me realise that I do kind of stick to the same sort of things. So I would like to do some lace projects this year, or a really cabled project. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. I also want to push my like sock knowledge and try some different sock construction techniques, like a fleagle heel I've never done, and maybe some jumper styles like saddle shoulders maybe, or something that I've not done. So that one's quite open, but it also can be that like learning a new skill entirely. Like I've got loads of beads and I'd really like to get into beadwork this year and doing some embroidery. And I've also signed up for a creative course with the textile artist Ruth Singer, and this is around like connecting to your creativity again, so I'm excited to start that. The course started on the 2nd, so it's in the last few days, but I've had a stinking cold and I'm on the end of it now, so if I sound a bit different, apologies, but yeah, I'm still not 100%. So I haven't started that, but I'm really looking forward to that and seeing what that also like helps reveal about what I want to do creatively this year. So yeah, learning new stuff and techniques and just making sure I'm not getting too static in my skills. Goal number 4, I put make the other stuff. And what I mean by that is a lot of my making time is so dominated by garment making, so knitting garments, knitting accessories to wear, clothes to wear, so lots of wearables. And I do have a few other like kits and projects that I would like to get into. So last Christmas my dad brought me a wicker basket kit, and I made like the practice thing that you have to do before the wicker basket, which was like this Catalonian bread tray thing. And then the willow had sat in the shed for a year, it went mouldy, we've had to like try and clean the mould off. I'm not sure how successful that's been, but anyway, getting to the point, I really want to make that willow basket this year. Like I have to make it this year, I can't have it just sitting around for another year. It's all cleaned, it's now living inside. Similarly, Graeme and I brought a cyanotype kit, so like photosensitive paper, and you put things on top and then it creates images. That has just been sitting in the cupboard, so I'd really like to use that this year. And also last year I brought a like side table for in our bedroom, and I bought some like French chic paint, which is not like my normal aesthetic, but I painted this bedside table like dark blue, and I wanted to do like some Scandi sort of style floral motifs on it, and then actually never got around to that. So I'd like to do that this year as well. And as I mentioned, like getting back into some hand stitching and embroidery stuff. I'd really like to do a cross stitch because I haven't done one of those in a while. The last one I did was a big like sampler for when Graeme and I were going to get married. We didn't end up getting married, so I just ended up making it with our like when we met date on it. So yeah, I want to also do other creative stuff, not just knitting and sewing. And then the last thing on my making goals is that I want to have in my Stash Hub stats, I want to have made 85 to 100% of the patterns I own. I'm currently on 85%, so it's about just like maintaining that and like not buying too many patterns that then I don't use. I mean, I did want to have 100% pattern made, but I think that's perhaps being a little bit too ambitious. So yeah, I thought I'd reduce that down and just have that as my goal. So they're the sort of 5 overarching goals that I have for the year, like the big things. And now let's get into some specific garments that I can show you that I want to make for myself and also for Graeme in the year of 2026. Like in 2025, I've started the year by doing my little sketches. So I have 3 pages here of sketch ideas. 2 are for me and 1's for Graeme. Now, I know a lot of sewers do a make 9. Mine's more like make 19 and Graeme's is make 9 for him. But what I thought I'd do is actually like go through what I actually have stashed for and what I can make for both Graeme and myself, and then I'll talk about the other projects where I don't currently have fabric or the pattern. So I'm going to put an image of my 2026 makes, and this one's called In Stash, and we'll start with a project that I have actually already started, and these are the January socks, and they're a pattern by Caitlin Bartold. and I'm using the Malabrigo sock yarn in a natural colourway to make these. So they're a cuff down sock. I'm nearly finished with the toe. So whilst I've been ill for the last few days, like I've been knitting a little bit, but that isn't loads of knitting considering how simple this is. And even knitting's been making me tired. So yeah, I know I'm ill. I'm ill when I don't want to knit. So that's one of the things that I'd like to make myself this year. And whilst we're on socks, I'd like to make the Giverny socks by Little Loops. It's a lacy sock pattern with a really cute little picot edge. And I think I'm going to use this grey from West Yorkshire Spinners. I originally brought this as like a contrast to use with one of their like self-striping bird colourways. And I have so much of it left. I don't really know what to do with it. But like a grey pair of socks that I could wear with like what I'm wearing today would go really well. And then whilst we're on yarn, let's just stick to the yarny things. In September last year, I went to Cambridge for my birthday and visited a little knitting shop while I was there. I'll insert the name because I can't remember at the minute. And got very taken with this, I think it's West Yorkshire Spinners again, Croft yarn. It's 100% wool, Shetland wool, in a DK weight. And if you've watched a lot of my videos, you will notice this is not a colour I wear a lot, but I did a style video about how I do want to expand my colour palette, and this sort of like pinky purple is a colour that I am really, really drawn to. So yeah, I really want to make the Ava cardigan by Petite Knit using this. As I mentioned, it is a colour outside of my palette, and I am going through some real ups and downs with whether or not I think this will suit me and if I'm going to get wear out of it. But part of me is like, just knit the cardigan, get it done, and if you don't like it, you can always dye it. But I think I need to be a big brave girl, and like, yeah. When I'm not looking at it, I'm always like, I don't think I love it, I don't think I love it. And then I get it out again and I'm like, oh no, I think I really like it. So I'm hoping that will go well. And then the other thing that I have yarn for that I would like to make is, well, again, so I originally bought that in that shop, and then the shop owner showed me this new yarn range by West Yorkshire Spinners, or it was new at the time. It was their Morris range, so inspired by William Morris. And I've been thinking about making the Olga jumper, and so I was looking for colours for that. And I ended up picking up these two shades. I think it's Linseed and Hyacinth. So they're two like lovely colours, and I really like the colours. I'm just not sure how I feel about having a stripy jumper in these. And actually I've decided I'd make the Olga jacket by Petite Knit, so that's a cardigan version rather than the jumper. I think I worry about, like, I have a lot of blue in my wardrobe, but not this like beigey colour. And again, it is a colour I want to introduce. I'm just not sure how it will go with everything else. And I think that's what makes me feel a little bit worried. Part of me is thinking I could use this and buy some more of the shade and make another jumper that I'm planning on. And like similarly with this, like I do love this blue shade. I need to probably stop overthinking. At the minute, it's going to be the Olga jacket. If I do a swatch and I don't like it, it might become other stuff. So I've got enough yarn to make that. And then now we'll go onto the big fabric pile. So this is like most of my fabric stash. Oh, gosh. Oh, here we go. A big stack. And what I think I'll do is I'll just work down it. So here on the top we have 3 meters of a pink double gauze that I got from a fabric shop in York last year. And originally I got this thinking I'd make a Gilbert top mod and just keep it pink. So I want to take the Gilbert shirt pattern, which I wear all the time, I have loads of it, and then just add a skirt so that I have a dress that feels maybe a bit more me for the summertime. I'm still going to do that, but then I think I'm going to over dye it, because the idea of, like, I love pink, but the idea of a whole pink dress on me, I'm not sure is something that I want to pursue. So I'm thinking I'll over dye it in navy. yeah, so we'll see how that goes. So that'd be like a wearable toile. Next up is this really lovely blue viscose that I got at Backstitch in September last year. It has like a really lovely drape on it, which you can't really see with it being folded up. And I'm going to make this Anne Klein for Vogue shirt, which I had made this year, but out of this like fabric that wasn't a suitable fit, and I just wanted another fabric to make it again. So I'm excited about that one. I think that's going to look very, very nice. And then next up, I'm going to skip a few in the pile just so I can grab the two. Next up are two remnant pieces that I got when I was at Sherwood's Fabrics in the past. I think it was in October. And I've got this, it's like 1.5 meters of this pale blue and white gingham. And then I've got about probably 1.5 meters again, but maybe not, of this like cream stripe fabric. And with both of these, I would like to make the Butano button-up from the Friday Pattern Company. I want to make the short sleeve version. I think for both I'll make the necktie as well if I can, but then I have the option to wear it or not. And with this cream and white one, I'm also thinking having those like loops for the necktie, I could always like put like a really nice black velvet ribbon in as well, like to make it a little bit more dressy. So these two things I think I will make more in the summertime when the weather starts getting a bit warmer. Next up in the fabric pile, we have this, again, it was from Sherwood's Fabrics. I think the next two are, yeah. This is a really nice blue and white, like cotton linen blend, I think it is. And I bought this knowing that I wanted to make the Paulette blouse, and that's a pattern by Fibre, and Graeme got me that for Christmas, so I'm very excited about making that, and I'm trying to resist the urge of casting it on, cutting it out straight away. And similarly, I bought this striped cotton. This is a Paul Smith remnant, and it's like a wine red and white. So again, a little bit outside my colour palette. Kind of intrigued with these two together. I think I like it. So maybe that cardigan will go lovely with this shirt. And with this, I want to make the Beth blouse by Madswick's Patterns, which again is a pattern that Graeme got me for Christmas. And again, I'm really trying to resist the urge not to just like cut everything out right now. So yeah, excited about that one. Just checking my pattern pile. Yeah, I think all of these ones are like digital patterns that I have. Another stripe fabric, wow, shocking for me. This time it's like a really deep grey and white, and I got this from Backstitch, which is towards Cambridge. So yeah, they have a really good fabric selection, so I do really recommend it. And if you get the opportunity to go to their shop, it's really nice. Originally, I bought this thinking I was going to make the Butano button-up again, but thinking about it a bit more, I've just made that in the gingham. I'm going to make two short sleeve versions. I want to make the Olya shirt using this. So I have one Olya shirt already, and I did that with the pockets like here on the bust line, and I don't love it. And I did that in a blue and white stripe to really try and make use of the fact that like the sleeves go into your yoke, so it's a really interesting design. But because the stripe's quite subtle, you don't really notice. So I thought it'd be interesting to do it again, but in a much more noticeable fabric. So that's going to be the Olya shirt. And then these two fabrics are the last in the pile. On the top here is just some really fine cotton gauze, which is from Merchant and Mills or Cotton Voile. I had bought this to line my September coat and then decided to do an online version. So I've just got this kicking around, and the garment that I want to make from this wool, again, this was from Sherwood's Fabrics. It's a wool blend. It's, I think it's a Lady McElroy fabric. So hopefully you can see, it's like this really nice check. This needs a lining for the pattern that I'm doing. So I'm doing the Adria coat by Fibre. I cut out the paper pattern yesterday. And I'd love to make that. And it does have a little bit of navy blue in the fabric, but it's not quite a good enough match for this blue. So what I'm thinking of doing is, we do have a Dylon black dye, and one of my goals, which I haven't talked about for fabric buying, was trying to avoid black, but I feel like a black fabric would go much better as a lining for this coat than this such intense blue. And so yeah, so I'm thinking of dyeing that, and that's the Adria coat. So that's all of the projects that I want to make for myself using Stash. And then I have 2 projects for Graeme, or 3, that use Stash. So we'll start with the yarn again. This was the bag of like mystery yarn that I got at the charity shop for like £3 or £4, I think it was. It was something really cheap. It's this really lovely, like, variated wool that's got blue, green, a little bit of red flecks in there. It's really nice. And originally I was hoping that I could make him a jumper out of this, but having weighed it up and trying to figure out, I think it's like a light sport weight yarn. I just thought the yardage is really stretching it, and I don't want to make something where like I might get to a cuff and then I've run out, because I don't know what this is and I can't buy more of it. And also Graeme is sorely lacking of like a pair of gloves and a hat and a scarf. So I've been looking on Ravelry and I found some patterns that I want to use. They're all from Pearl Soho. So in terms of gloves, I am using like a fisherman rib hand warmer pattern, and I cast that on yesterday. And then they've got this really nice double seed stitch scarf, which is actually an Aran weight, but what I'll do is just hold the yarn double and just use what I can. So I think I'll make that one last. And then I've also queued up like a simple hat that they've got. So it's just a rib texture and then just a plain hat. So they won't be a perfect match in terms of like, they're not all having a similar cable motif on them, but they'll be the same in that they're all the same yarn. So yeah, so that will use up all of these, which will get quite a lot of yardage out of my yarn. So that's nice. And then the other things that I have fabric for him, the first one is this pair of trousers. It's KnowMe by Mimi G, and it's Donny Q who designed these. So yeah, it's number 2056, and I'm making just the trousers for this. And luckily Graeme's like quite a straight size with menswear patterns, so I've cut out the 38 size, the paper pattern. I am going to have to make a modification and shorten the leg a little bit, I think by about 3 inches. Yeah, 3 inches. And I have got this like browny green fabric. I'm not sure what the blend is. Again, this is one of the fabrics that I got when I did that like charity shop haul, and it's sort of an unknown quantity. It's got like a twill weave on it though, which is nice. And as I haven't made these before, these at the very least would just be like a wearable toile for him, so I'm excited about that. Yeah, this sort of greeny brown's much more Graeme's colour palette. Adding to my stack of stuff. And then the last sort of big yardage of fabric that I have is this really nice green twill, and it's like a canvas. It's quite thick. I can't remember what I bought this for Graeme, but I'm hoping that I can make the Foreman jacket by Merchant and Mills. I've just bought that as a present for Graeme, so it's his birthday coming up, and I've managed to get like a few bits, so I'm hoping to get the trousers done before then. But I've also bought the pattern, and then we'll do like an IOU a jacket. So that's everything that I have yarn for, and that's quite a lot of projects. But as I mentioned, there are other things that I want to make that I don't have stash for, so we'll get into those now. This is where I am going to have to go back to my little drawings. So makes and stash, done. Makes for Graeme, nearly done. So on the makes for Graeme, actually 3 of the 9 things, because I'm counting the hat, scarf and gloves as one project, I already have fabric or materials for, but the rest I don't. So the other things that we'd like to make for Graeme, and this is after we went through his wardrobe recently and did like a bit of a like, what are you wearing, where are the gaps, what would you like me to make for you for next year? So one of the things that he'd like more of are more basic instincts t-shirts, because he wears them all the time, and some of the t-shirts that he's got are starting to get really quite scruffy. So hoping to make 2 to 3 of those, and yeah, see where that goes. And then I'm hoping with leftovers from that I can make him more boxers, because again, after gifting him some at Christmas of the Comox trunks, let me just grab my patterns and I can show you those. Or not. Oh, here they are. Yeah, so he wants more of the Comox trunks, which are a boxer pattern from Thread Theory, and I've made these so many times, really good reusable pattern. And then the other things I'd have to buy patterns for. So another thing that we'd like to make, and this is a knitted garment, is a cardigan for Graeme. So when Graeme's at home, he does wear like cardigans quite a bit, and I haven't even found a pattern for this yet, so I need to do some searching on Ravelry for a nice sort of V-neck, I think, cardigan pattern. I had made him one before and I just hate that cardigan so much, and I would just like to get a new one in his rotation that feels a bit more like in keeping with the rest of his wardrobe. The other thing in terms of something warm and cozy to wear that we'd like to do is like a smarter coat. So when we went to my friend's wedding in December, we realised that Graeme didn't like have a smart jacket or anything like that, and so we want to make a smarter coat. And the one that I'd like to make, and obviously Graeme has agreed as well, is the Goldstream pea coat by Thread Theory. So I've mentioned Thread Theory before. I've also made trousers by them in the past for Graeme. I really like this coat. I like a pea coat. I think it will really suit Graeme's frame and look really good on him. And then the other 2 things on the list that we want to make, so we're sort of jumping seasons for one of them, is Graeme really wants some shorts, like linen shorts, and there's a pattern from Wardrobe by Me for loose linen trousers, but they have a shorts variation. Graeme's already expressed he won't wear the trousers, they're too baggy, but he will wear the shorts, so I quite like those. I mean, I also have some other menswear patterns that I could make short versions out of, so we'll see about that, but I think those ones are nice because they're elasticated and a bit more like casual fit. And then the last thing on his wish list for garments is some jersey pyjamas, probably more like pyjama bottoms. So I've seen like a pair of joggers that we're considering making. I'll put the designer name in because I haven't written that down. Or again, I could use like an existing pattern that I have, or even if I brought those loose linen short pattern, I could then make that in a jersey and just like, yeah, bedwear, and just use a basic instinct top for the top pattern. So yeah, they're all the things that Graeme wants. So that's his make 9, so quite a few things to buy for him there. And then my other 2026 makes, I'll pop the image up. I've realised that one of them is stuff that I actually have fabric for, which is that Anne Klein shirt. I probably just ran out of space. And then the rest are largely trousers. So if you saw my wardrobe review, you will know that that is a big gap in my wardrobe that I do really need to address. And unfortunately, my fabric stash at the moment does not address it. So I would love to perfect the fit on the Narcisse. I keep saying this wrong every time I hold it or speak about it. The Narcisse trousers by Doe & Deer. So there's these really lovely like tailored trousers, but it has like a side panel, and I've talked before about how I really want to do this in a striped fabric where I can have the vertical stripes going down the trouser and then the contrast side panel sideways, but I need to perfect the fit first. And yeah, so that is a pattern that I'd really like to make. Another one in terms of trousers, and this was a goal from last year that is bumping over, is perfecting the fit on the Strides trousers by Merchant & Mills. They're a pattern out of their workbook. I think I need to go back to the original pattern and cut from that again, or draft from that again, and then make some modifications for fit. I have loads of calico upstairs where I can do lots of fit practice. I just hate doing that because it's not very exciting. And then the other pair of trousers I want to make, again, is a rollover. I would like to make these Simplicity trousers, so the S956, either in the View A or the View B. So the View A has this really nice like waistband detail. I already have a pair of trousers like this, but they are getting a bit worn, so I'd like to make more of those. And then I've also got jeans on this list, but with a question mark. So I'd like to find a really good jeans pattern and try and perfect the fit on those. So if you have any recommendations for sewing patterns, then please do let me know. I'd really like to hear. The other things in terms of bottoms that I'd like to make is I'd like to use the pyjama pattern that I have, which is the Lizette B6296, to make some more pyjama bottoms, but in like a cotton or a linen, like a really lightweight pyjama bottom, because the two pairs that I have are really thick like brush cotton, and it would just be nice to have like a summer variation on that. And I tend to wear like pyjama bottoms just with a t-shirt, and I'm also thinking of maybe getting some really nice like florals to do that with, because I wouldn't ever wear florally fabrics in any other capacity really, but actually bedwear feels like a chance to do that. And then the other pattern that I have physically to show that I would like to make next year is this McCall's pattern. It's an M7574. It's a Ragland tee pattern, and I'd like to make either the short sleeve and the long sleeve version. I'm not sure which one yet. I definitely won't be making the dress though. Or maybe I'll make the View C, which is a slightly longer t-shirt. But I love a Ragland, you might be able to tell from the jumper I'm wearing, I love a Ragland sleeve, so I'm really hoping to find some nice jersey where I can make one of these. And I think I'd quite like to make it with a contrast on the shoulders to really highlight that design shape. But again, I need to have a think about that before I make it. And then I have two more things that I want to make for myself. And one's a raincoat. So after making Graeme the Langate jacket this year, I really want to make myself a raincoat, because at the minute I'm just having to wear like walking coats and it doesn't go with the vibe of my day-to-day wardrobe. So I've been searching through the fold line, and I think I've settled on the Pauline Alice Sarah jacket. And there's lots of variations that you can make with this, and I'm thinking of making the variation where it's a slightly longer like trench style coat with a removable hood. And I think I'd like to make it out of like a dry oilskin or an oilskin from Merchant & Mills. So I've sort of been eyeing up fabrics there. And yeah, I'm going to mull on that one a bit longer and see how I feel. And then the last thing that I'd like to make is the Twist Loop Setter by Other Loops. And this pattern is the one that I was sort of referencing earlier, where I was saying about if the Olga jacket doesn't work out, the striped jacket by Petite Knit, I could always utilise one of the yarns for another jumper. So in the pattern design, it's kind of like this sort of beigey colour. And so I could use this Morris yarn if I bought more to make that. Although I had to check gauge because I haven't done that. But this is a sort of colour that I'm thinking of making that in, or like a more creamy palette, fawny, a neutral shade. So that's everything in terms of garments. One other thing that I would really love to make this year is a quilt, and not a scrap quilt. So basically all the quilts that I've been making over the last couple of years have always been scrap projects. And whilst I love that and I love using my scraps, I just want to make something that feels like a bit special, and like I've made it specially for making the quilt and like for the art of quilt making. And I think it's as cute as a button pattern that I've been eyeing up. There's also a really nice floral one. But we have a lot of florals in our house, and I just felt like the button one would offer a little bit more versatility in terms of like fabrics that I could use, and also would give me potential to use some scrap fabrics if I feel like they're suitable. So yeah, I've been eyeing that up. But again, if you have any really nice quilt patterns, then, or like quite modern ones, then please let me know, because I'd really love to make a quilt for our bedroom that's like, yeah, nice and new, and not just using the scraps of everything all the time. So yeah, so lots of stuff. As I mentioned, we've got a make 9 for Graeme and like a make 19 for me. And all of the projects that I've sort of referenced from these sheets are projects that I'm allowing myself to buy fabric for. I'm allowed to buy fabric for these, and that doesn't come out of my 12 spend tax. One thing that I haven't talked about that I kind of know that I want to make already is an April cardigan. So I've made one before, but I'd love to make another in like a really dusty pinky purple, maybe more purple. I saw a sky the other night, which was like almost the exact colour that I want to do. So I'll put a picture of the sky the other night. And I've looked, and Knit and for Olive have like a colour that I think I really want to make that with. So yeah, that will probably be one of my 12 already that I know that I might spend a token on and make that in April. So we'll see. So yeah, lots of stuff to keep me busy in 2026. I made about 45 things this year, ranging from like garments to big things, but I did make quite a lot, so I'm quite hopeful that this can all get done. I think the thing that will be my real challenge for this year is just like pacing myself through the year. I think at the start of the year you have all this energy and momentum when you're not feeling terribly ill with a cold, and then you just want to like start everything, and I just kind of want to make sure that I don't like splurge and then like use all my energy and then have like a creative burnout, or yeah, like not want to do stuff. So yeah, at the minute I feel really excited and really hopeful about the year ahead. I hope that you all have some really nice making plans and they're achievable and they're not making you feel overwhelmed and you feel excited about it. I know in the comments a few of you mentioned like getting rid of whips, which is a great goal, and like going back to those projects that once like inspired and brought joy, because at the minute that's how I'm feeling about everything that I've got. I like feel quite inspired by it all and quite excited by the prospects of making it. So yeah, I think that's it. We'll see how we get on. Maybe halfway through the year or at some point through the year I'll do a check-in and see how I'm going with my goals. But as I mentioned, I've cast a few things on already. I've got some patterns cut out. So we'll get going. I mean, the one benefit of being ill means that you are just lying around the house, and unfortunately I'm terrible at resting, so probably just make myself ill for longer. But anyway, thank you for watching this video. Let me know about your 2026 plans in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you enjoy this and you want to see what I actually do make in the year ahead. And thank you very much for watching.